So I'm just sitting here, just kind of admiring and thinking just of the beauty of this life that we actually have. All the opportunities and blessings and, even the trials and tribulations we go through, it all has a greater purpose for us. And I just love the idea of just having faith in the uncertainty, right? Because we should be walking by faith and not by sight. What I mean by that is, whatever it may look like in the moment, it may look like everything's crashing down and you're failing and it's hard to get back up. But in reality, that's God, building you and molding you into the version of yourself who can, acquire these things and to achieve these blessings and be happy of where you've come from and, what you've been through and what you had to go through to become this version of yourself that you're after, right? And so it's just amazing how, God really works in all of our lives. Even though we all may seem a lot different than each other, in reality, we're all created equal by God. And He all has a plan for us. And, it may take time to figure out, what God has in store for you. And, you may be trying to force something else that's not right for you or, not the position you may want to be in. It may be God bringing you out of that position, out of that group of people, away from these people or away from that job or whatever it is, so He can work through you and inspire you to, start what He has for you, what He's planned for you. And another thing is like, what you focus on, where your focus goes, energy flows. And that kind of sounds, cliche or whatever, but it's really true, because if you are focused on, all the negative aspects of your life, if you're focused on what's going wrong in your life, you're really magnifying that problem in your head. And, even though, things are going wrong in your life, since that's what you're primarily focused on, that's all, your subconscious mind kind of sees and creates, right? If you start focusing on, what's going right in your life, because there's always something, no matter how small it is, even though there is stuff going wrong, there's always something going right in your life. And that may be, the hardship you're in, like I said, that's building you and molding you and growing you. But really what you focus on is kind of what creates your reality. And yeah, so if you start focusing on, the good things in your life, the positive things in your life, you woke up and you had breath in your lungs this morning, you can see, you can breathe, you can hear, you can smell, you can feel, you can touch, you can walk, you can create. And a lot of people, they just get in these cycles to where it's just a negative loop, and that's all they're focusing on. That's all they want. That's all they attract is just the negativity in their life, and they just magnify it. And they love just being negative, and they want others to kind of feel the same way, right? Because they won't. It's like crabs in a bucket. They're gonna drag you down back to their level. So if you are surrounded by the wrong group of people, the wrong group of friends, they're going to drag you down back to their level because they don't want to be left alone. And you may have to distance yourself, whether it be friends or family or, whoever it may be. You may have to distance yourself and just kind of get away from them and let them, do their own thing, figure their own things out. That way you can, figure out who you are and get your own thoughts in check and, find out what it is you love to do. Because I bet for those of you watching this, let's say just write down 5 big goals that you really want to achieve. You may not even have think of that before, but try to write down 5 really big goals that you have in mind, whatever it is. Create your own business, your own, whatever it may be. And then now that you've got those written down, I want you to go in your friend group, in your family, and tell them these goals, right? And if you think they may try to bring you down, oh no, you can't do that, or that's too hard, or people like us don't get that far, or anything like that, you're in the wrong group. You're surrounded by the wrong people who are constantly trying to drag you down. And that's really not where you want to be. So isolation is a really good thing. And nowadays it's really hard to be in isolation because there's so much social media stuff going on, all these videos telling you to do this, or you may look at that online, that person online who already has what you want, you may be comparing yourselves to them and be like, oh, well, that's too hard, or that's only like one in a million. No, like it is possible. You just have to accept the idea in your mind that it is possible and that you can achieve this, because I promise you can if you just put in the work and you show up and you be consistent every single day.